I want to provide a little bit of a flavor of how easy it is to design with PSoC Creator. So this is a schematic screen, and I'm going to add another one just so we can demonstrate some things. So we notice we added a page down here. Over on the right we have a whole pile of items that we can drag onto the page and use in our schematic. We have analog components that analog to digital converter, amplifiers, op amps, analog multiplexers, comparators, and DACs. In this circuit, of course, I'm going to be doing digital design, so we won't be doing cap sense or communications, which are like I2C and I2S and so on, LIN bus. There are some functions here which we can have higher level functions like a counter, PWM. There's a quadrature decoder built in here. I'm going to be doing one from scratch because this one is expecting to feed into some software. It's there if we want to use the full functionality of the device. I'm just looking at using the hardware, FPGA style stuff. So down below we have some registers, and we will be using ports and pins. So we want to input signals from our encoder, and we want to output to some LED displays. So we will be selecting some digital output and digital input pins. So for example, up here in the logic section, I can just drag an AND gate over. Suppose I drag two of them. I can connect them together by just using these little connectors and overlapping them, and then I can move them around and it will maintain connectivity wherever I drag it. Suppose I want to drag a NOR gate. I can easily do that, connect it up, and if we want to make connections between items on the screen, we can use wires over here. So we just connect it any way we would like, or you can just click on it, delete anything you like, and hit the delete button to delete it. This little icon here is a page reference, so if I want to connect this to one of the other schematic sheets, I can just if I want to name this net, I can just go in here and edit the name. So it will automatically assign it a name, but I can change this to anything I like. Oops, no spaces. Now that net is called test wire. And we can add any number of components we like onto the page and create complicated schematics. If I want to put in an input pin over here, for example, I can do that. And once I have all the inputs and outputs, let's just put an output pin on here for example. Once I've put all the inputs and outputs and connected all the circuitry, one thing I forgot to mention is that you can configure any of these components just by clicking on them. So if I want to configure this pin, we'll click on it and I can set it up as an analog or digital input, digital output. I can set it up as high impedance. I can set up resistive pull-ups, pull-downs, and I can even have open drain, etc. And we can set the initial state over here. So it's very flexible. And we can also set up gates to have any number of input terminals, etc. I can go to the pin assignment page here, and which is just one of the tabs at the top. I can type in which port I would like connected to what pin. I've already assigned most of them because I wanted a lot of test points. We'll go look at that in a second. Back to the schematic. I like designing with the circuit symbols as opposed to some sort of VHDL language or something like that. So this is cool. We can print out the schematics. When we're ready to program this into the chip, all we do is we can go in here and build the design, and it will set this up so that it can be programmed into a device. And then we just hit this button here, which will program this schematic right into the device. So I'm going to delete this page, and we'll go and look at the quadrature decoder. So it has inputs here, one here, and I've described this circuit elsewhere, so I won't go into it in great detail here, but just to show that it can be loaded directly into PSoC Creator. I have another page which I've drawn the 4-bit up-down counter, and these two references over here come from the previous page. So they're coming from this up pin here and this down pin here. This counter uses T flip-flops, and then I have 4 outputs from the binary counter, and they're just called A through D. So this is a pretty clean schematic of a 4-bit binary counter, and that's feeding into a 4-bit binary to 7-segment decoder logic block. So this block has the inputs A through D, A, B, C, D, and it has outputs for the 7 segments of a 7-segment display. I've looked around the net, and this is probably cleaner than any other I've seen for a 7-segment decoder. So it's a good schematic to copy, and it works. So this is all set up right now. All I have to do is build it and program it. So building logic circuits with a PSoC Creator is pretty much like drag and drop, about as simple as it gets. And if you get it wrong, it's really simple to correct it.